The next keynote speech is a very interesting session. We'll be covering on how startup transform government sector. So we have Head of Program and Content Pioneer from Austria will sharing her insights to us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Ms. Rebecca Martin.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Startup Thailand for inviting me here to speak. What a great conference, guys, to be part of. My name's Rebecca, and I've come here today from Pioneers in Austria, based in Vienna, to talk to you about how we've grown the ecosystem in Central and Eastern Europe. I don't know if any of you have heard of Pioneers before. Hands up if you've heard of Pioneers. No one so far. Oh, a few people. That's cool. We did a Pioneers Asia event in Tokyo last year, so you may have heard of us through that. We also have our big flagship Pioneers event in Vienna in the summer, so that might be also the reason. But hopefully, by the end of my talk, you'll all know a little bit more about Pioneers. So it's a crazy time to work in tech at the moment. The headlines that we're seeing about how the latest technologies are going to take over the world and disrupt the status quo. When will robots replace us as workers? Will artificial intelligence make us as humans obsolete? These are the sorts of studies that are being put out there to question how these technologies will affect our personal lives and our professional lives, and make us question the relevance of the work we're doing in this ecosystem, and make us question what these technologies mean and our role with them. Is our creativity and is our judgment necessary with these technologies? It's my role at Pioneers to think about these big questions in tech and give them a stage for us to interact with them. So this year, I invited this guy, who's the Vice President of the European Commission, to join us in Vienna, Andrus Ansip, and talk about automation and the future of work. He talked about the possibilities that technology creates. So for example, in Austria, where we're based, there are the highest number of robots per capita of any country in the European Union. So the most number of robots per person is in Austria. But in Austria, there's also the lowest rate of unemployment. So the most robots, but also the most jobs. And this shows that technological progression is a good thing, right? It leads to more employment and is a positive step for countries and for ecosystems. This is important. At the moment, these technologies might seem scary, but actually we're more empowered than ever before. There's new possibilities to solve world problems in mobility, in health, in education, using these new technologies. For example, there's now technology to 3D print entire houses. This woman, Aniel Guedes, a Brazilian woman, came and spoke at Pioneers this year about her company that's building 3D printed concrete to create the housing problems that she experienced growing up in a slum in Brazil. I don't know if many of you know about CRISPR technology. Hands up if you've heard of CRISPR before. CRISPR is a new scientific technique to basically cut and paste elements of DNA so that you can rewrite individual strands of DNA. This woman, Dr. Rachel Howitz, came and spoke at Pioneers this summer about her company, Caribou, which has the first commercial use case for CRISPR technology. And she spoke about how this could be used to eradicate genetic diseases. Crazy, crazy biotech use case. Probably a few more of you have heard of Hyperloop, Hyperloop transportation technologies. I've been working closely with the CEO, Dirk Alborn, to bring their first prototype on stage in Europe last year at Pioneers. And this technology has the potential to dramatically decrease the length of travel time. So physical movement could almost be equatable to the movement and flow of information, so much faster. So I guess in the email I sent to the organizers of Startup Thailand with my presentation, potentially I could have got here from Austria in the same amount of time, which is crazy to think about. So basically, these technologies are the sorts of things that we want to give a stage to and support at Pioneers. Pioneers was started 6 years ago by 2 students in Vienna, in Austria, to build a community of tech innovators. They set out to bring together tech innovators, entrepreneurs, pioneers, to come together and talk about these latest technologies and build solutions to solve real-world problems. Pioneers, together we believe that we are stronger as a unit and working together. And we want to build the community to talk about these bigger technologies and question what we can do to work with them and solve challenges. You can see there that in 2009, Pioneers started with just 40 people in Vienna, where there was kind of no support for this sort of thing that existed before. And this year, our event in the summer, we grew to 3,000, a community of 3,000 people, of tech innovators, investors, corporates, governments coming together to talk about these big challenges. And that community is from over 100 different countries. And we also live stream our content to over 200,000 people on our live stream worldwide. I guess the question is how we got to such a big place, starting with just 2 students in Austria. So 3 years ago, we launched a program called the Pioneers 500. And this is where we have an open application portal for startups to apply to be part of our community and come and work with us. And those are early stage startups that have raised less than 3 million euros, don't know what the equivalent is in Thai baht, and less than 3 years old. And we bring the 500 most promising of those startups to our events for free. This year we had 4,000 applications to come and join us in Vienna, and those applications came from over 100 different countries. In total, over those 3 years, we've built a community online of over 14,000 startups. You can see that Asia is our second biggest region in terms of applications to join us and be part of our community. I think this year we had about 200 applications from Southeast Asia, so I'd like to see that increase. And I think we as Pioneers want to be the launchpad for your ideas that you're working on today into Europe, and to bring you to Europe through the central regions around Austria. We've had, through that program, some amazing success stories already, and I'd like to share just 2 short ones with you today. Runtastic, which is a running companion app, met its very first investors at Pioneers, and it actually sold in 2013 to Adidas for 240 million, which is the largest tech exit that we've had in Austria still to date. The other, which actually happened just last week, MySugar, which is a digital health startup in Austria, was acquired by Roche, which is an international pharma company. And this is the largest digital health exit in Europe. So this was just last week, so we're very proud of them. My job at Pioneers, my role, is to think about how we bring these different groups of people together and how we give them the right space to network and to talk about these bigger questions that we need to solve as a collective. This year, I put a focus around human augmentation. So we looked at the technologies that are advancing us on an individual level, but also as a wider community. So technologies that have the power, I guess, to impact human capacity and human potential. We explored artificial intelligence, the latest developments in AI. We looked at the latest work in biotech, and also new space exploration. What's the next frontier for humanity in terms of space travel? I'd like to quickly show a very short video, which gives you probably a better feeling for what our community is like.
Is it right that it's your touch that I need to get along, get along? So give me life. I close my eyes and let you lead me till I'm gone, till I'm gone.
Money follows talent, and that talent is spread across Europe.
I was high for the good times, I was high for the bad times. Tell my baby that I'll be better, I'll be better. There's light on the edge of the dark side, broken doors on the fast life. Tell my baby that I'll be better, I'll be better.
We are at the dawn of space as a travel experience.
Technology isn't a replacement, it's an enhancement.
We're talking about hacking, we're talking about your personal identity.
And all of this will be powered by PwC.
Thank you. Hopefully that gives you a bit better idea of what Pioneers looks like in Vienna. The event takes place in the Hofburg Palace, so a 500-year-old palace in the center of the city. And it's a nice environment to bring these crazy technologies together with the chandeliers and the old style of the history, I guess, of that place. So the question is, what's next for Pioneers? Once you have that base community and you have those early stage startups, how do you support them and help them grow to the next level? And how do you take that further? So at Pioneers, we are now much more than an event organization for startups. We have Pioneers Ventures, which is a VC fund. So we invest in pre-seed and seed stage startups, so right at the early stage of your journey. We currently have 25 investments and growing. We have Pioneers Discover, which is an advisory arm of the business, which brings together corporates and governments with startups. So startup-driven innovation, which we've heard a lot about on this stage today. And the final part, the events part of the business, I spoke a little bit about already the Pioneers 500 program for those early stage companies to be part of the event. The next step for us, and what I'm introducing this year, is called the G100, where we want to bring the 100 most promising growth stage startups to our events. So Series A, Series B. And the reason for going into this part of the journey is to learn what support startups need at that level, so that we can help our startups and our community grow from that really early stage through to their growth stage and scale up. So in this situation, we're supporting our community right from the founding of their company through to growing their product, launching and scaling. Please come and talk to me afterwards if you're interested in being part of that community and part of our journey in Vienna. I guess this ecosystem works because we put a lot into it in terms of organizing these events and bringing everyone together. But it wouldn't be the same without the support from governments and the support from corporations. That's what's really important to get these ecosystems going, and is what helped us to grow in Central and Eastern Europe. So this is a very classic slide which shows the pillars of entrepreneurship. And the reason I started this talk by referencing the European Commission, Andrus Ansip, who joined us in the summer, is to show how important the relationships are with governments to push these ideas forward and to grow this ecosystem. So whether it's from policy and regulation, from attracting new talent to a region, from grants and access to capital, or from kind of sponsoring and growing events like these here today, these ecosystems can't thrive without both stakeholders from the public sector and the private sector working together. What I've learned today is there's a lot of government support that goes into building the ecosystem here, which is very similar to what we needed in Central and Eastern Europe to get started. The reason we're launching the G100 that I mentioned previously is because in Central Europe, we're at a point now where we see partnerships rather than disruption. So where we started was startups are disrupting big businesses, they're going to take over. And now we're seeing models much more for collaboration and for partnerships. And that's why we need these corporates, governments, and startups to all work together to continue to build that ecosystem. There's a great quote by William Gibson: "The future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed." The future's already here, it's just not evenly distributed yet. So it's our responsibility, the people in this room, whether you're entrepreneurs and founders just starting out, whether you're governments or corporations or event organizers at the back, it's our responsibility to spread that knowledge and spread those ideas and help to build the ecosystems to develop creative technologies for the future. So there's one thing that I'd like to ask you to all do before I head off the stage, and that's think about, over the last 4 days, the ideas you've seen, the people you've met, and try and think about one idea or one connection that you're going to take forward. It's very easy at these kind of events to get inspired by what you see, but once you go back to your everyday job and you're back at your desk, it's hard to remember that you need to keep that momentum and keep those ideas going. So please, all of you, just take a minute to think about what you've learned at this event. Just one main thing that you found interesting, or a connection that you've made that could make a real difference in your professional or your personal lives. So for me, coming here, I've learned a lot more about the Thai ecosystem. I've seen there's a lot of work going on in ag tech and food waste, which is super, super interesting. So I need to follow up on those connections that I've made on Monday, so I'm promising to myself to do that. And I'd like to encourage you all to do the same. So the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. That's the message, to think about what you've learned and to take it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. He's a program's content partner from Austria. Thank you very much. Well, you're sharing with us today really valuable for our startup in Thailand as well to join and co-work with the public sector.